Hello and welcome to Madam Talk Europe, the podcast from Madam Rap that aims to bring visibility to LGBTQIA+, female and non-binary rappers in Europe. Over 6 episodes, we explore the rap scene in 6 different European countries. I'm Éloïse Bouton, founder of Madam Rap, the first and only media outlet dedicated to women and the LGBTQIA+ community in rap, which has been active since 2015. Today, we're diving into the situation for queer rappers in Spain. Éloïse, for this episode, I looked for data on the number of women in Spanish rap, but I found nothing. At Madam Rap, we list around 140 queer rappers in Spain and 350 in Mexico, Central America, and South America. This brings up several questions for me. Why aren't there studies or statistics about these artists? What role does each part of the industry play in their invisibility? And most importantly, what solutions can we implement to make them more visible and accessible to a general audience? To understand these challenges, I'm speaking with an artist and 2 experts on the subject. Éloïse. First, we have Masta Quba, a Mexican rapper based in Catalonia. Also with us are Helena Bricio and Lara Alcázar from MIM, Mujeres de la Industria de la Música, an organization that works toward effective equality between women and men in the music industry in Spain. Welcome. How are you? Masta Quba, Speaker 2. Hello, thanks for having me. I'm Masta Quba, an MC and rapper from Mexico. I've been living in Catalonia for about a year and a half, and I've been rapping for 18 years. I'm also an artisan and hip-hop educator. I work on using hip-hop to make this world a more just place, one that's decolonial and anti-racist. I'm a migrant, an educator, and a performer dedicated to this cause. Helena Bricio, Speaker 3. Hi, Éloïse. I'm a project coordinator at MIM, an association that turned 8 years old this past September. Our mission is to fight for gender equality within the Spanish music sector. Lara Alcázar, Speaker 1. I'm also on the board of MIM. I work in a music label, and I contribute to El Salto, where I write about music from a feminist and LGBTQIA+ perspective. I'm really glad to be here to add my voice to this important conversation. Éloïse, there's a common perception that rap is much more sexist than other genres. Do you all think that's true? Masta Quba. Yes, absolutely. I believe everything in this world is tinted by sexism and racism because we live in a patriarchal, racist, colonial structure. Rap doesn't escape that. It's a culture born from the streets, from marginalized voices, so sexism is naturally present. Although many of us see rap as a space for resistance and struggle, unfortunately, sexism is still deeply embedded in most of the scene. Lara. I completely agree with Masta Quba. People often think that genres like rock or pop are more gender-conscious or anti-racist, but that's not the case. The whole industry is affected by patriarchy, and you can see sexism everywhere, from indie pop to hip-hop. Believing that only reggaeton or rap is sexist means we're not seeing the bigger issue. Helena. And I think putting all the blame on one genre does a disservice to music as a whole. This is a societal problem, not just an issue for a specific genre. Éloïse, do you see any specific traits within the Spanish music sector compared to other countries? Lara, in Spain, we have less culture and support for genres like hip-hop and rap. If you look at places like the US or the UK, where these genres are more developed, there's a richer, more diverse scene. In Spain, the rap scene has been dominated by white men since the early 2000s, and you can see that in the barriers that exist here. Masta Quba. Yes, hip-hop began as a movement of resistance for oppressed people, but here in Spain, racism is still very much present, although it's often disguised as something cool. For example, I've seen leftist spaces that call themselves inclusive, but when you look at their artist roster, everyone is white. In the year and a half I've been here, the only people who have hired me are other migrants because I just don't find opportunities in other spaces. Eloise, so do you think this lack of diversity in the industry is a systemic problem? Masta Quba, definitely yes. Everything is systemic. In the end, we live in a world designed to benefit some while excluding others. I've seen a lot of cool racism here and collectives that fill diversity quotas superficially, but don't actually invite real diversity. Lara, exactly. We often talk about inclusion in terms of quotas, a trans person, a racialized person, etc. But this approach still thinks in compartments. We need to think in terms of non-exclusion rather than forced inclusion. This means genuinely integrating everyone into spaces in an organic way. Communication or marketing roles, which are less visible and less well paid. Eloise, in France, one argument for not giving more visibility to female rappers is that there isn't an audience interested in their music. Is that similar in Spain? Helena, in Spain, it's not that the audience isn't interested. It's more that rap has a strong political and critical edge that makes it less attractive for commercial spaces. Here, there's still a fear of letting critical voices, especially women, onto the stage. Masta Quba. Also, music has always been a powerful tool for propaganda. Hip-hop in the mainstream has been used to reinforce negative stereotypes about racialized people, instead of being the space of resistance it was meant to be. This shows how the industry uses the genre to promote certain ideas rather than challenge the status quo. Eloise, Masta Quba, do you work with any label? Is that an objective for you? Masta Quba. No, I prefer to stay independent and dignify my work. My music is political, and that will never be mainstream. I try to make a living from this, but the reality is that I'm just surviving. I rely on the support of a collective and people who believe in my project, but the industry doesn't make it easy to stay afloat. Eloise, what do you think are the biggest obstacles to visibility and success for female rappers in Spain? Lara, I think it depends on a lot of factors, but one of the biggest is the lack of support networks. The spaces where female rappers can perform and connect are precarious, and there's no festival structure or programming system that makes it easy for them to enter. The industry doesn't invite or make it easy for them to get into certain spaces without connections. Masta Quba. Yes, in the end, we find ourselves in an industry designed to benefit some and exclude others. The sad part is that musicians, the people who really uphold this industry, are the ones who earn the least, and this is even truer for women and racialized people. Eloise, how can MIM help to make female rappers and emerging artists more visible? Helena, at MIM, we have influence in festivals, congresses, and spaces where we connect with public and private institutions. We also act as a support network, providing contacts and job opportunities for women in the industry. Additionally, we run programs like Inspira, which aims to connect artists in Spain and Latin America to share experiences and support one another. Eloise, do you think quotas could help improve this situation? Masta Quba. In theory, quotas could be helpful, but I find it sad that we have to rely on them. I'd rather think that inclusion should happen naturally without needing to check off a quota. Helena, I do think quotas can be effective. In Spain, we've seen positive changes thanks to quotas, although they're not always enforced. But we need to keep pushing and demand that these rules are respected if we really want to change the dynamic. The Madame Talk Europe podcast is produced by Madame Rap and supported by the European Union through the LIVEMX program. It is available on all music streaming platforms and in 6 languages.